Hello, welcome to CATEX TV. Today is Friday, June 3rd, 2011. We have some interesting news, but before we get to it, let's focus on what happened 22 years ago today. In 1989, the Chinese army began to sweep through downtown Beijing, ultimately leading to clearing out Tiananmen Square, killing untold thousands of mostly student protesters. That was 22 years ago today. That began, and they're still paying the price for that. Let's get to our main news. The E. coli outbreak in Germany continues to worsen. Cases have now been reported in the United States. Mainly these are travelers who have been exposed to the virus in northern Germany. Nearly 200 new cases of E. coli were reported in Germany yesterday. 18 people have been killed in Germany already. However, the European Health Agency is saying there are signs that the outbreak might be slowing. There are now 1,700 people in Germany who have been sickened. 500 plus have been suffering from the very virulent strain of the virus that causes kidney failure. Researchers have been unable to pinpoint the type of food responsible. The outbreak is considered the third largest E. coli outbreak in recent world history. 12 people died in a 1996 Japanese outbreak and 7 died in Canada in 2000. However, kidney specialists in Germany are indicating that hospitals are beginning to see fewer infections each day. It may be less, one said, but it's not over yet. Of course, the admonition, there's no reason for hysteria because it's not spreading and it's not increasing, it's decreasing. According to researchers at the Münster University Hospital in Hamburg, which has been closely involved in the investigation of the outbreak, their scientists are hoping to know by next week more information about the E. coli strain, which could prevent new infections. European farmers say that they are losing millions of euros every day. The Russians have already cut off all imports from the EU. Well, you knew that this was going to happen. Werner George, head of the German insurer Gotthard and chairman of the Association of German Mutual Insurers, said at a symposium in Cologne yesterday that reinsurers are earning too much money. Quote, reinsurers' underwriting results are significantly better than those of the primary insurers. In 2010, he said most reinsurers reported record earnings. Quote, so it follows that prices for reinsurance cover are not too low. George said he opposed demands by reinsurers for higher premiums. He said the possibilities for profit participation by reinsurers on the one hand and primary insurers on the other are increasingly drifting apart. Christian Mumenthaler from Swiss Re objected to this. He said both reinsurers and primary companies achieve almost the same return on equity. Ulrich Wallen, the CEO of Hannover Re, the third largest reinsurer in the world, also supported Swiss Re's position. He said it's a misconception that reinsurers have better underwriting results than primary insurers. At the other topics being kicked around the symposium, of course, the sex scandal at Munich Re's primary insurer, Ergo, was a big topic. Also, compensation for brokers. Our friend Tad Montrose, the CEO of Gen Re's Cologne Re unit, said the bigger issue is brokers' commission. The incident, the sex incident, will open up a debate about the way brokers are paid. And no kidding. He added that solutions must be found to set incentives for brokers, such as payments on a fee basis rather than on a commission. News from Canada that Canadian Natural Resources has once again upped its loss estimate for the explosion and fire at its Horizon oil sands facility in northern Alberta. The company now says that fire repair and rebuilding costs could be as much as $450 million. This is a jump of $50 million from just last month. The company says it has insurance in place to meet these costs. Lloyd's insurer Chaucer is at least one of the companies that's been hit by claims. The revamped fire repair and rebuild loss estimate comes at the same time that Canadian Natural Resources finds its operations under threat from forest fires raging through Western Canada. Our friend Luca Albertini is in the news. We have an interview with him archived on the CATEX TV page. London-based insurance-linked securities manager Leadnerhall Partners has raised $50 million from new investors. The investment comes from a number of pension funds. Luca Albertini said the money's been raised to deploy in the, quote, plentiful collateralized reinsurance opportunities that were available at the June renewals. Although retro rates have been attracting a lot of attention, Albertini said that he's concentrating more on getting a number of small slips on primary insurers. He said, commenting on the wave of 2011 sidecars that have been seen, he said, sidecars open up capacity for opportunistic buyers. We're looking for relationships with our buyers. Remember that Lloyd's insurer Amlin provided $70 million in seed money for Leadnerhall when it opened in 2008. Luke has been doing well. He made a 10.4% return on his funds being managed in 2010. Well, hold on to your seats. This is not exactly a news bulletin. The Florida Commission on Hurricane Loss Projection Methodology, what a mouthful. It's essentially the state of Florida has approved the updated RMS version 11 Hurricane CAT model. This now means that the new RMS model can be used for rate filings with the Department of Insurance in Tallahassee. The new model increases risk estimates in the entire state of Florida by 6.5%. The updated model, however, has reduced the level of wind risk in some coastal areas, including Miami-Dade. RMS said that the updated version incorporates updated hazard and loss estimates, and listen to this, new academic insights on how hurricanes decay over land. You'll notice there's a slight shift already in terminology. It used to be the clarion call for RMS's 11 version was that rates in Florida would decrease. Here they're going up 6.5%. The other objective was that new studies showed that hurricane strength over land, in fact, was more intense than previously known. Now the study shows that it can decay. Syria today has an unusually large protest. 50,000 anti-Assad demonstrators are rallying in Hama, the city in southern Syria, over the killing of dozens of children who have been murdered in the anti-government protests. 50,000 demonstrators are in Hama right now, flooding the streets after the noon mosque prayers. Government crackdown has now led to at least 75 civilians dead since Sunday. The usual problems have now occurred. Internet lines have been cut in Damascus by the government, and the coastal city of Latakia has been completely cut off from telephone service as well. In downtown Athens, protesters have taken over the Finance Ministry, equivalent to the U.S. Treasury Department next to the White House. They unfurled a giant banner from the roof calling for a general strike. 200 protesters from the Communist Party blockaded the entrance to the ministry before sunup this morning. They unfurled the banner 5 stories high. People going into the building have been forced to work from a separate building. The government says that business is continuing as usual. If you believe that, I've got some swampland in Arizona. Here's an interesting story. 8 months ago, there was a massive gas line explosion in California in the town of San Bruno down by San Jose. Well, the owners of the gas line, Pacific Gas and Electric, have taken out full-page ads in 24 California newspapers. They're apologizing for last year's explosion. The spokesman for the company says that PG&E wants to say how deeply sorry they are for the September 9th explosion, which killed 8 people and flattened 38 houses. I think they were a little late with that. The shareholders paid $250,000 for the ad campaign. And on Friday, we usually try to end the show with a little bit of a light note. And when in doubt, you can always look to the Korean Peninsula. North Korea vowed this morning to launch retaliatory military action against South Korea. Why? Because the South Korean military has been using photos of the North Korean rulers for target practice. The government of North Korea says that they see no need to sit face-to-face with the South Korean traitors. They believe the only way to resolve their differences is by immediately forcing a show of arms. From now on, the government of North Korea said, we will launch practical and overall retaliatory military actions to wipe out the group of traitors in Seoul at one stroke. Their statement made reference to the practice of South Korean Marines and some Army units using pictures of North Korean leader Kim Jong-il, his son and heir apparent Kim Jong-un, and his father, the North's revered founder Kim Il-sung, as firing targets. South did back down a little bit. They said yesterday that they would tell their army units to use only standard targets. North Korea said that this is such an offense that they might have to actually respond because this is a 3-time criminal cursed act of hurting the supreme dignity of North Korea by using the 3 leaders as target practice. You can't make this stuff up with those guys. Well, we hope you have a good weekend. If we have any breaking news, we'll come back and tell you. In the meantime, thank you for watching.